right. So yeah, really nice talk. The first one. For the second one, we'll be talking about events occurring in real time and everything around it in Flutter. I think also a little bit of backend was included. So full stack today. That's cool. Something different. So please enjoy and take the stage.
Yes, so I'm Tim. I'm a senior developer tech lead at Altra. And I'm a pretty newbie Flutter dev since a week or so don't ask me hard Flutter questions. My background is more in web. I was pretty involved in the Umbraco CMS in the early years. And something that was always really hard was adding real-time functionality to an application. But now, after today, you'll know that adding real-time functionality is as easy as punching through a styrofoam board. Meet SignalR. SignalR is a project that's been around since 2011, was started as open source, and has been part of the .NET project in 2013. It allows server code to send async notifications to client-side web applications. Still a bit in the web atmosphere. It takes advantage of WebSockets, but it falls back if those are not available. So what do you need to know about SignalR? It's .NET, so it's open source, cross-platform, and it's an abstraction layer on top of WebSockets, making it a lot easier. It introduces the concept of hubs, which I'll show you a bit later. So most of you are used to communicating through REST, so you send a request, you get a response back, and that goes back and forth. But with SignalR, you do basically a handshake, and then you have a persistent bidirectional communication channel with the server. When would you use this? For example, for live chat rooms, data broadcasting like traffic updates that you want to see instantly, multiplayer collaborations, notifications across social media apps, like live GPS locations, for fleet management, and a lot of other stuff.
Okay, let's go.
And what I made as a proof of concept is the Turbo Polyp reservation app. Turbo Polyp, you say? Turbo Polyp is a fair attraction which has been quite the meme some years back. You have one guy which is called Michael. He's like a really fair fanatic, and he made the fair at home, and his top attraction was the Turbo Polyp, so there's a YouTube video about that. And like 5 years later, they discovered there's another guy, Yuri, who has the same hobby. So they both have that hobby and just do Turbo Polyp together. You need to watch it. So the Turbo Polyp reservation app, basically you get an overview of all seats, but of course the Turbo Polyp is super popular, so there's only a limited amount of seats available per day, and once a seat is taken, it must be unavailable for others immediately. That's the concept. I'm not a designer, but this is the server, which contains .NET backend. The API REST API to fetch all of the seats, the SignalR hub, reservations are stored in the database, and then from your Flutter apps or your web app, you can make the reservation, and the reservation will immediately reflect on other screens. So the backend, again, is just a DB table with a unique ID, which number the seat has, what the time slot is, and if it has been taken or not. Simple model, ID number, time slot taken. And of course, we need to fetch the data with a repo. So getting today's seats, if there aren't any seats found, it will just insert the seats with a simple algorithm and an option to reserve a seat based on the ID. And then to fetch the seats, this is just a REST web API, and just get the seats in a JSON format.
Okay, let's go.
So that's all pretty standard stuff. And what SignalR will introduce is the SignalR hub. So the hub is the way to interact with SignalR. And you can see you can just use dependency injection to insert stuff and then create your methods. For here, the clients will basically invoke this method. Then it will use the repository to reserve the seat and send an async call to all connected clients to invoke a block seat method with the seat ID. And the rest that is still to do, besides creating the hub, is just registering the hub so that you know at what location you can find it. The web app is pretty simple. We just connect. This is just plain JavaScript. You see we just connect with a certain URL. Start the connection. Is there an error? We just log it. And to invoke, this is a lot of code, but it basically just invokes the reserve seat method on that hub, providing it the seat ID, which was found by looping through all of the seats. And then, yeah, it invokes it and shows an alert. And you can also listen. So whenever the block seat is invoked from the server on the client, we will just look for the seat by ID and add the class taken to it.
Okay, let's go.
So maybe now for a short demo, and it's an interactive demo. If I can find. So in the Slack of the Flutter community in the general channel, I just placed a link, which is the web app. So that's the first step. I did not load test it. Shit. And normally, if people start reserving seats, you will see that the color changes. So that is the communication between clients going. You see, that's the concept. And now, of course, we want to do this in a Flutter app. How do we do this? There's a package, SignalR.NET Core, which we can just add as a dependency, which you do like this. I'm new to Flutter, so yes. How do we connect? That's also just importing the package, saying where your server is. Yeah, I'm now just using an ngrok tunnel to forward to my server. And then we need to know which hub we want to connect to. That's it. Now we have a connection. No. We have to start the connection. But this is a method in Flutter, private, I have been told. Of course, now we can invoke methods. And how do we do that? Pretty similar to how it's done in JavaScript, just a hub connection, invoke the name of the method on the hub, and provided the arguments. And we can also listen. So whenever the server gets that reserved seat, it will broadcast a block seat. So we can say, well, on block seat, well, use this method to handle that. And you see here, it does that. From the parameters, the first is a string, which contains the seat ID, and then we can start doing stuff with it.
Okay, let's go.
The demo. It's open somewhere. Yes. I'm not a designer, I said. So these are all the seats. They have all been reserved. So I think I need to reset the database. So now I will just update so that all seats are not taken, and then reload. Yes, you see now somebody is clicking and it's being updated. I can also click and it will be updated. Interactive, super easy. Like I said, adding real-time functionality is as easy as breaking a styrofoam board. Nobody had styrofoam, otherwise I would just punch it here, but I tried, but yeah, it's bad for the environment. You can find the code once I upload it here. If you're interested, it's basically a starting package to get up and running with it. And that was the talk. Maybe it should have been a lightning talk, but
Okay, let's go.
yeah.